The newly elected socialists are plotting their takeover of some of America's largest cities. And in New York City, Zoran Mamdani wants your money.
It's up to us to raise the money. Usually campaigns take that as an opportunity to rely on wealthy donors, but that's not us. Our average donation is around $77, and more than 12,000 of you have donated so far, which is much lower than the last administration's transition. But we're still asking for your help because we need to raise $4 million in total, so January 1st can be the day we start to deliver, not start to prepare. I hope very soon not to have to ask you for money, but until then, I'm asking.
Well, what's he going to do with that money?
One of the things that we've said beyond saying that they're going to make a sanctuary city for LGBTQIA plus workers, beyond saying that we're going to establish an office of students of QIA plus affairs, is also that we're going to provide $65 million of funding for gender affirming care.
And the socialist-elect just endorsed a Palestinian activist for New York City Assembly, even though she just moved to the district within the past year. After studying Islamic liberation theology in South Africa, she also made some disgusting remarks about 9/11, but he chose to endorse her. And then in Seattle, Katie Wilson is making her plans known. Quote, here's what she said: I will appoint a cabinet of exceptional leaders whose lived experiences reflect the diversity of Seattle's Black, Indigenous, Asian, and Pacific Islander, Latinx, Hispanic, and people of color communities, as well as that of women, immigrants, and refugees. 2 LGBTQIA plus communities, people with disabilities, people of all faith traditions, and residents from every socioeconomic background. Boy, that's a lot. Joining me now, Trump advisor Alex Bruesewitz. Alex, these plans that are taking place across the nation, I don't understand much of them, and it's really shocking that this is the moment we're at. You're a young man. You appealed to Gen Z young men on the Trump campaign, and now we're seeing these kind of crazy plans across the country.
Yeah, Kaylee, well, thank you for having me on. And their plans are absolutely crazy. I don't even know what half of the terms that they used actually mean, and I don't even think they know what they mean. And I think, honestly, most of that stuff is just a sideshow. And I think the rise of socialism is really happening in our country because there's so many people who feel like they did all of the right things in life, but they still can't seem to get ahead. And I know this from my personal experience and my family. I have people in my family who I care about who got really great grades in high school, went on to have successful grades in college, and then they moved to a larger city seeking economic opportunity and jobs. And when they arrived in those cities, those jobs didn't exist. And so I think there are a lot of people who are frustrated. And if you look at Mamdani's exit polls, he only won 50% of the vote with people who have a 4-year college degree or a higher education. So it's not working class people who are falling for this socialism trap. These are overeducated people who feel like they just cannot get ahead in life. And I think President Trump is hyper-focused on this. That's why he's so focused on bringing economic opportunities back to our country. I mean, he's secured $21 trillion in economic investments that will be coming to our shores very soon. And so he's focused on bringing opportunities back. And I think the more opportunities that come back, the socialism experiment will begin to fail.
Yes, and I want our viewers to meet 2 of the candidates that, unfortunately, this is what California is left with, candidates for governor. I'm going to play each of these for you, Alex. I'm going to let you pick your choice. First, let's meet Eric Swalwell, who's going to be running for governor in California.
I love California. It's the greatest country in the world. Greatest country in the world. I'm ready to bring this fight home. So I came here tonight, Jimmy, to tell you and your audience that I'm running to be the next governor of California.
Swalwell, you don't like Swalwell. Here's Katie Porter. Listen.
Shot. Okay. You also were in my shot before that. Stay out of my shot.
So, Alex, who do you want? Katie Porter, Swalwell, poor Californians?
Oh, boy. I actually love California. California is a beautiful state, and my fiance is actually from California, and so I've spent a lot of time over there, and it's really sad what's happening. They have the highest gas prices in the country. The immigration crisis over there is insane. And so I'm very bothered by what's happening in California, and I don't think either Eric Swalwell or Katie Porter can turn it around. But I think that the American public can sleep well at night knowing that Eric Swalwell, arguably the dumbest person to ever serve the United States Congress, will be leaving after this term. You know, Eric Swalwell obviously famously had relations with a Chinese spy. He also farted on camera during a television interview. We'll certainly miss those moments, but I don't think we're going to miss his crazy policies or his participation in witch hunts that were totally political persecution. So, California, he's your problem now.
Alex, we have about a minute here, and I just want to scroll while you talk. The 92 Democrats who voted against a resolution condemning socialism, 92, they say, oh, this is just a small portion of the party. But when in fact you look at it, this is 47%. 47% of Democrats in Congress that refuse to endorse socialism. So is this mainstream?
Well, I think it is, and I think it's definitely mainstream in the Democrat Party. But I would like the Republicans to stop focusing on these resolutions and perhaps work to end the filibuster and advance President Trump's agenda, and maybe work with the president on a plan to address the student debt crisis and some of these other crises that the American people face and why they're becoming attracted to socialism. I mean, these resolutions are nice or whatever, but I think that we need to have real solutions and work with the president to get his agenda through.
Yeah, that's a fantastic point, because I did see Mom Donnie say, he was asked about this resolution. He said, I don't focus on resolutions, I focus on affordability. And that's a really good answer. So those are wise words. Once again, Alex Bruesewitz, thank you. Come back soon.
Hey, it's Will Kane. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Kane podcast for full episodes right now.